Moment. He's currently in 8th place, just ahead of Jacques Villeneuve.
The coarse sounding Ferrari then passes our commentary box, in your view, down into the braking zone at turn 1. It's a 1 minute 13.2 for Michael. This is how far Raikkonen is behind. He's got all of turn 13 and the whole pit straight to do, and he goes over the line anytime now. The gap then is now 21.3 seconds. Frentzen is 4.6 behind him.
Lap 61 of the 73-lap American Grand Prix at Indianapolis. Michael Schumacher is leading by 22 seconds from Kimi Raikkonen. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, though, is matching the pace of the Finn. He's 6 seconds behind him in 3rd place, heading for a podium finish that would be very welcome indeed for the Sauber team. They've also got Nick Heidfeld in 4th place at the moment. Jarno Trulli in the Renault is 5th. The other Renault, Fernando Alonso, blew up a short time ago. Giancarlo Fisichella is 6th. Juan Montoya is 7th, and Justin Wilson is 8th for Jaguar. And the $10 million question here at Indianapolis is, does Kimi Raikkonen have to make another fuel stop for a splash and dash? If he does, it's almost certain that he will not be able to finish in 2nd place, and that's the result that he needs in order to take the championship on to the final Grand Prix at Suzuka. If Raikkonen can't finish 2nd, Michael Schumacher will win here this afternoon and will be the world champion for a record 6th time.
Yes, and Montoya needs to be P5 or better to keep his chances alive, and at the moment he's a distant 7th. He's 19 seconds behind Fisichella, closing in sometimes 3 seconds per lap, so he might just catch Fisichella before the end of the Grand Prix, but even that will not be enough. He's looking then, he needs another retirement from those runners ahead of him. Just 12 people on the racetrack. Furman stopped on the side of the road, possibly left front suspension damage. Coulthard in the pits with a technical problem. Alonso we saw with an engine failure. Button looked like an engine failure to me, but they say hydraulic problem. Panis put it in the wall, Webber put it in the wall, so did Ralf Schumacher, and Barrichello bundled out in turn 2 by Montoya, who was subsequently penalised for that.
Certainly was. It's been an eventful afternoon. It's been an afternoon that's been marked by rain. It's dry enough now, but earlier on, utter chaos here in Indianapolis. Teams unsure whether to go with wet tyres or dry tyres, and it required a steely nerve, and it required a little slice of luck And certainly as far as Michael Schumacher is concerned, in the heaviest of the rain, it required being on the Bridgestone tyres. They've taken such a panning this year through the summer, haven't they, Bridgestone? Michelin have outclassed them through the Grand Prix like Manucourt and Hungary and places like that. But when it mattered, when it really, really mattered in championship situation, the Bridgestone wet tyre was the thing to be on. And that is what has given the platform to Michael Schumacher to take this race by the scruff of the neck. And how must Montoya be ruining the mistakes that he made earlier on, putting Rubens Barrichello off the racetrack. He had a drive-through penalty for that. He's also had slow pit stops, sticking fuel nozzles. It's been a disaster, really, for Juan Montoya. And here we are, on board with the race leader, hoping to become the world champion here this afternoon.
Well, I'm looking out of the window straight into the McLaren garage, where I can see our very own Ted Kravitz, I think, down there, and we're just watching to see if there's any action or reaction. We're not expecting Michael Schumacher in again. Raikkonen now moving to within 10 laps of the finish, so that's quite hopeful. And Frentzen now 7 seconds behind him, and Heidfeld a further 18 seconds behind in fourth. Trulli is fifth, catching Heidfeld now very quickly, so we may have a change of position here, and that would be another headache for Kimi Raikkonen if Jarno Trulli is fueled up to the end of the Grand Prix too, should he have to stop. And we saw a 6.7 seconds pit stop refueling time for Raikkonen, but I don't think that one was accurate, unfortunately, so we've no idea how much fuel he put in. Raikkonen just another 1.1 seconds faster than Frentzen this time around. But the main fight then is for fourth place between Heidfeld and Trulli right now.
Well, it's kind of out of Michael's hands, really. What about the World Championship this afternoon? There's not much more he can do than win the race and get the maximum 10 points. But if Kimi Raikkonen is going to be stubborn, stay in there and get the 8 points for second place, so be it. And we will go on to Suzuka in 2 weeks' time for the championship fight. Back Marco Minardi there, getting out of the way of Jarno Trulli,
who's ahead of Nick Heidfeld. Somewhere in there, Jarno Trulli passed the Sauber, so we didn't see it, unfortunately, on the screen. Hopefully there'll be a replay somewhere, but Trulli is up to P4, 19 seconds adrift of Frentzen. Frentzen's not under pressure. Heidfeld down then in P5. But also at the moment, Ferrari would leap ahead too in the Constructors' Championship. We've just got Montoya in a lowly 2-point scoring position at the moment, so it's really looking dream ticket for Ferrari. And you'd have to say at the beginning of this race, it was Ferrari who looked like they had the biggest problem of the afternoon, the biggest job, especially when Barrichello got bundled out of the race, but the weather just brought them straight back into play.
Well, everybody's been asking how much experience would count in this final championship showdown. Montoya didn't have any experience of it in Formula One. Obviously, Kimi Raikkonen, it's the first time he's been here. Michael Schumacher, though, has been here many, many times before. Nothing much to choose between Ferrari, Williams and McLaren in terms of winning titles, but do you think experience was a big factor here today? Or obviously luck was a little bit as well with the weather.
Yeah, it was all down to the weather, James, frankly. I mean, Michael, remember when it first started to rain, Michael was nowhere. He was falling back quite quickly, back into 6th place. But as soon as it rained heavily enough for the Michelin runners to need a wet tyre, then it has been plain sailing for him. It's just the way the cookie crumbles.
And what do you make of the way that the three championship contenders have dealt with today? Michael Schumacher, Kimi Raikkonen and Juan Montoya.
Well, Montoya looked, and here's the replay then of Trulli taking that 4th place down in the braking zone of turn 8, and a nice neat manoeuvre there. So Trulli a solid drive in a car that he damaged and really hampered his progress yesterday in qualifying. I think Michael Schumacher and Kimi Raikkonen have been exemplary, I have to say, in very, very difficult conditions. It would be so easy to fall off that racetrack today. Every corner would have been a new adventure there at certain parts of the Grand Prix. I think Montoya's sort of looked a little bit clumsy, and I'm sad to say, because I really wanted him to stay in the championship and give us something right down to the wire, and maybe Formula One could nicely use a fresh champion at this time. And I'd love to see Michael Schumacher's, recharge next year, coming back to snatch it back. But Montoya really has been off the racetrack. He's been in trouble with Barrichello, and it looked a touch unnecessary, that one, and generally didn't have the tyre to cope with the conditions either.